Elizabeth Gross, Volatile Bodies. I believe this, the whole approach is faulty if this approach is, as I'm construing it, of all of her work, is to say, point of view or perspectivalism is a bodily way of looking at things, and the tradition has what she's polemically ascribing to the masculine version of the logos. So, for instance, if you just look at the cover blurb of Narcissus and Goldmund to Hermann Hesse, the notion of the rigorous intellectual and the masculine type in this sense of juxtaposition that Hesse makes between Narcissus and Goldmund, that Narcissus has the so-called quote-unquote perspective from nowhere rather than the bodily perspective. But yet both Platon and Aristoteles say the same thing here. They say because the hierophants, the Egyptian hierophants, were not pressed upon by any bodily needs or any Maslow pyramid stuff, they developed mathematics, and this unfolded out of the ousia, translated nature. The being of anthropos, or the human being. So this is a particular, this is clearly a perspective. If you want to read that as perspectival, nothing prevents you from superimposing Nietzsche's claim there. Their claim is that in that bodily position, and in a way this goes also for Merleau-Ponty, all these, what did I do last summer, book reports by all these people deserve the same rebuff. No, the tradition always said, here I am in a bodily condition, but this bodily condition produces mathematics. This bodily condition produces episteme, or the epistemic, as we call it. It produces what in Socrates, Plato, we get as the lower part of the upper part of the divided line, and nous as the upper part of the divided line. Out of nous, we get the capacity to go to the ousia, or translated nature, of anthropos, and then see that this nature is such that when put in certain bodily conditions, just as when a seed is put in good soil and so on, etc., certain bodily conditions, then it produces, in the case of the mathematicos, geometry, especially geometry. So this whole attack on the supposed difference between the masculine mind and the feminine, and in body terms, is false, because obviously as Platon did. One can say, oh, well, there's certain female bodies which could do just the same thing, which could become mathematicians and be in the same, under certain conditions, just as the seed, when put in the right soil and in the right climate, or in a hothouse if necessary because of the climate, will produce what they're meant to produce. This thinking has already had a bodily been understood directly and bodily. Now, the question of methexis and the question of what's the difference between Platon's teaching and Aristoteles' teaching, as, for instance, given in the famous, I think it's a fresco of the School of Athens, the pointing up or pointing down, is connected to this thinking. It's connected to this saying, here's our model. We have some people that are, in our case, unlike the Egyptian hierophants, were in the shadows of the houses, were gossiping like women, were doing the thing which could be ridiculed as Aristophanes. I'll do something soon on who were the first comedians, because the Wikipedia page has the wrong answer. Who is this comedian? Socrates, and what is the comedian? Who is this Iron who's playing against know-it-all Socrates? Socrates being the Iron, the know-it-all being the Gorgias, or the people is doing, attempting to have either to do long or short speeches with, which is to say either dialectic or rhetoric, according to Plato's teaching, and maybe according to Socrates' teaching. So yeah, I think I would wonder to say, does not this even extend also totally to what do the defenders, so what's the argument? What did the defenders of Merleau Ponty, who we would expect to be on top of this along to already, however many decades ago, we would expect to have already known this from the start, whereas I could see in the sense of some of these more recent theorists, maybe they're simply making a more crude mistake. Either way, we have to go away from this kind of endless supposed to be fruitful error, and I think address the root of the problem, which we have to start with the proper understanding of the methexis problem as unearthed by Martin Heidegger.